Welcome back, YouTubers. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm your host, Jeff Ferguson.
And I'm your co-host, Margo Hill. Good morning, friends.
Good morning, and thank you once again for joining us. Happy New Year. It is another great day to be Indigenous. We are so happy to be here. It's such an honor to be able to just say Happy New Year to you folks out there in Indian country. It's just an exciting time to be alive.
And it's a good time to say goodbye to 2020.
Right.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to be done with 2020.
Good riddance. Oh my gosh. Cannot wait to start the new year. Before we get going, a quick shout out to some of our newest subscribers. Alyssa in San Fran. We like to say hi. Arlen in New York City. And Barb in Palm Springs. Thank you for subscribing, and we look forward to hearing from you. So yes, thank you so much. And we hit our 400 mark. We're over 400. We're going for 500 now. It's pretty exciting. We are at like 90 new subscribers since we started doing this. And, be sure to like and subscribe if this is your first time joining us. Be sure to share it with your friends. This is a great way for people that don't live in the Inland Northwest. If they're going to school somewhere else or if they're relocated, they can pick us up anywhere in the world. This is exciting. And so, we are actually coast to coast now. We got people in New York City and in California, and I know people in Alaska and a few other places, and some other countries are actually tuning in. So that's pretty exciting. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we want to invite you to join us live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 to 8:30. We're following stories in Indian country, current issues that affect your lives. We're looking across the region, the Inland Northwest, and some national stories when they affect Indian country.
We are covering stories locally and regionally from 11 tribes of the Inland Northwest, as far west as the Colville and Yakima, as far east as the Blackfeet, all the way up to the Kootenai of Idaho and the Coeur d'Alenes, and down south to the Umatilla and Warm Springs, the Salish Kootenai, the Spokane, the Coeur d'Alenes, Colvilles, and Nimiipuu. I think I got them all that time. All right, so yeah, that's what we're focusing on, and we're also focusing on bigger picture stuff that's affecting us on a national level. So thank you again for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. We're monitoring the live feed. We got people on this morning already. We have Red Bex. Greetings from Flathead Lake. All right.
All right.
And we got Irv is kicking in again with us. Native guy. Oh, yeah. So we've got that one coming out, Irv. It's coming up. We got a quick link for that. So that's one of our, we'll be getting to it. So anyhow.
We are still looking for a name for our morning show. We had one suggestion come in from Jill Nampuya Muma, Kuthunzut, which means to inform. Jeff, I believe that's the Okanagan Insalkshin dialect. So we're looking for a name. We in a couple weeks we'll bring you some of the name suggestions, and we like to get your input. If you've got stories to share, videos to share, send them to us. I'm happy to share. Coming live from Inchlim, Marilyn Sis Signor said that the Little House on the Prairie are having their family rodeo, and they're riding wild donkeys. And so far, is it the Nelsons are winning? So
all right. All right, we'd love to have some video like that, and we can share it. You can chime in with it. We can show it live if you decide to go that route. If you send us little clips, we'd love to show those as well. That's really what it's all about, is connecting us, keeping us connected. Pandemic or no pandemic, it's about keeping us connected to our roots. Yeah. So pretty exciting. So first story. If you hadn't heard, Trump signs a relief measure averting a shutdown. This is just, this one's a little bit old. This happened just the other day, but $3 billion for tribes for 2021 for COVID-19 response. A one-year extension to spend funds allocated in the CARES Act to begin with. That happened back in March, so they've extended that. They've added $3 billion more to give you an equivalent. That's roughly about what the Cobell settlement was. So that's an influx. It's less than half of what we got last time. $1 billion for IHS vaccines, testing, tracing, and COVID mitigation. $1 billion for broadband, and more than $20 billion for programs ranging from housing, funeral benefits and funding for tribal colleges and universities to substance abuse and mental health programs. In an early statement, Democrat Senator Tom Udall, vice chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, highlighted other programs he had championed, such as support for Native languages and cultures and provisions to address missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls crisis. That's super, super exciting. It's more money, and it's targeted. I like to see this, that they're going to be helping with the substance abuse. I know a lot of tribes are trying to get treatment centers set up, and they were trying to get programs set up to help with that, and so they're being able to roll some of that into this. So it'll be exciting to see what comes of that, and getting that extension on the first CARES Act money. That's really going to be helpful, because I know tribes are having a hard time spending that. So.
Yeah, so we appreciate out of West Palm Beach, Florida, that President Trump signed the $900 billion pandemic relief package just this past Sunday. Ending, we had days of drama where, the Democrats, the Republicans were going back and forth. Trump had refused to sign the bipartisan deal, which would deliver the long-sought cash to businesses and individuals, and really to avert a federal government shutdown. This is a big issue. We don't think about it, but this massive bill, $1.4 trillion to fund government agencies through September, it contains other end of the session priorities, which Jeff was mentioning, but there's money for cash-starved transit systems. Things that keep us, getting our ride to work. It will increase food stamp benefits. So there's a lot of pressures on our local economies across the nation, and hopefully this billion-dollar pandemic relief bill will help that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Hopefully it'll get put to use, and hopefully there'll be enough availability as far as getting the key players involved that need to get involved, and they're not going to be overbooked and double booked and that kind of thing. We were running into problems with that before. So that is good news out of West Palm Beach, Florida. I have a quick story I want to share real quickly. It was last year about this time, our own Margo Hill made it to the cover of the Fig Tree. Movement empowers women leaders. So we just wanted to throw that in there. Thought I'd surprise you. Talk to us a little bit about what the Fig Tree article was about.
Mary Stamp did a real in-depth report about murdered missing Indigenous women. As an attorney for my tribe for 10 years, I just have a real unique understanding of federal Indian law, jurisdiction, all the things that affect women and mobility. I do a lot of research at the university on transportation and mobility. So we've been working across the country to make things happen, to support law enforcement, to support legislatures. We now, because of our work, we've helped the Washington State Patrol to have a tribal liaison on both the west and the east side. So we're doing all we can to find our Indigenous people when they go missing.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I should be reminding you, if you have any of the missing or murdered Indigenous women flyers that you want us to post to the Facebook page or to the Twitter page, be sure to send those to us, because we'll be happy to post those. We're putting up as many of them as we can. I know that there's movement in that, and I know last year has been really instrumental in getting things done with that. So I also know that a lot of times the information on that gets kind of lost in everything else that's going on. So we want to definitely keep up with that. So if you have any of those flyers, be sure to send them to us.
Well, Jeff, we talk straight to personnel at Washington State Patrol, and if you have a name or somebody, we will track it down. We'll make sure it's investigated, because people are working hard to find our people and to solve some of these cases. So there are folks out there working hard, and so let us know, and we'll make sure the name gets passed on.
Yeah, for sure. So moving along to our next story, we have let's see if I can get this up. Here we go. First U.S. case of UK COVID variant found in Colorado. So we had a new case, or a new variant of the COVID that developed in the United Kingdom. There was a guy in Colorado that got it. This article put out December 29th. This is an NPR article. It's NPR, if you're not familiar with them, National Public Radio. They are very unbiased news source, and they are super stringent as far as checking their sources. They just diligent. They're very diligent on checking their sources. This article goes on and says, a case of the new coronavirus variant initially seen in the United Kingdom has been found in Colorado. State officials say marking the first time the variant has been officially documented in the United States. Colorado governor, so the governor of Colorado chimed in. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, we'll go right back to, here's the variant. Here's the variant case. And the governor of Colorado, he chimes in, and he says this man that's tested positive is in his 20s and has not been traveling and is in current isolation. The individual has no close contacts identified so far, but public health officials are working to identify other potential cases and contacts through thorough contact tracing interviews, the statement said. So again, we're going to leave links to all the stories that we cover in the description section below, so you can check those out. I did want to point this out, though. This is a guy who hadn't been traveling, who contracted this variant from the UK. He got it somehow, and it didn't say, they didn't really know where it came from. It's kind of scary.
So one of the concerns, Jeff, I understood about that case is that it spreads faster. That's one of the threats of this new strain, is that it spreads faster than the current coronavirus that we've been dealing with.
So as fast as this one that we have has been spreading, this one, I think the article said it spreads 7 times as fast. Something crazy like that. It's not more lethal, it just spreads faster. And so we're going to have to keep an eye out for that. And we'll get into more of this here in a second, but I know you have some information for locally or regionally, the Nimiipuu Health and what they're doing. So
yeah, so we're trying to stay on top of the COVID virus. There were 17 mutations of the virus. Scientists are trying to track down the specifics. Here in our own inland Northwest, the Nimiipuu Health begins to administer COVID-19 vaccine. So at Alapwe, we see that Nimiipuu Health received their first shipment of Moderna of the COVID-19 vaccine. And, staff referred to this prioritization list and almost immediately began offering the vaccine to the community. They started with Nimiipuu Health staff, of course. Our health staffs are on the members are on the front line. So we're finished with giving it to all the staff. Yesterday was the plan, and then they were going to once and timing is everything. Once the vial is open, the vaccine is not stable for long. So because it's not stable for long periods of time, it's important that you as the patient arrive on time for your scheduled appointment. We want to make sure that we avoid any vaccination waste. So please keep in mind when you schedule your appointment, just get there early on time. Don't try to fit one, I don't know about you, Jeff, but I always try to get one more errand done when I'm out getting things done. So we can do this together. We start with our frontline workers, our police and fire. The next on the priority list was social services and CPS workers, because of course they have to go into people's homes. The EOC members, the NEPTEC members, the senior citizen staff, because again, we're delivering meals to our senior citizens. And then top of the priority list after that is 75 years of age and older. Those with 3 or more underlying conditions. So they're looking at medical histories. Jeff, they're really doing a pretty thorough job. I'm really proud of our tribal communities across the nation. And often the public doesn't know this, but our tribal communities, we have ceremonies. When the vaccines come in, I know at the Spokane Tribe, Carol Evans, and there was ceremony, there were prayers and songs before the first tribal member, Barb LeBret, was vaccinated. So our tribal communities are doing this, bringing this medicine in a sacred way.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. You know, since we started covering the COVID stuff here, we have had, and the vaccination specifically, we've had reports of Coeur d'Alene elders receiving vaccinations, Spokane's receiving vaccinations. We have the Nimiipuu, and some of the first were the Kalispels. So the Kalispels got their vaccinations in too. And if you have other updates for us, let us know. We'd love to report on those. But it's exciting to see that Indian country is getting vaccinated very quickly. I know the numbers are not even close to what they projected. They were saying earlier this year, this current administration said that by the end of the year, we'll have 100 million people that will be vaccinated. And then they said, oh, it'll be 50 million, or it'll be 20 million. I saw a report just yesterday that said it was barely 2.5 million people that have been vaccinated. So you go from 100 million to 2.5 million by the end of the year. This is going to take a while. So seeing it hit Indian country is really exciting. I have a quick story that I want to touch on. And I want to go into some of these statistics because this is really important. You know, I did not want to go and do all things COVID on this YouTube station, but it's so important. We have so many things to lose as Indian people. We have our culture, we have our language, our elders, our spoken word. All those things are so important, and this is just right there. It's at the cusp of making this so devastating to Indian people. So this article came out. This came out this morning. This was on ABC News. I saw this really early. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. But ER nurse tests positive for COVID-19 8 days after receiving the vaccination. That's 8 days after receiving his first vaccination. As you probably already know, these vaccinations, you get one, then you go back about 20 days to a month later and you get your second one. And this guy got his, he tested positive for COVID 8 days after his first one. And so I wanted to bring that up because it is still so important. I know people that have been vaccinated already that are acting like they are immune, that's a done deal. And it's not a done deal. They just got their first shot. They haven't had their second shot yet. And it's still not a done deal, which means 8 days in, even after his vaccination, he's still going to be contagious. And we have to watch out for that. We still have to wash our hands. We still social distance. We still have to wear our masks. And so I sat down and I did some of the math, and this was really disturbing. So if we look at how many people there are in Spokane area, in Spokane County and Kootenai County, the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area, and we took and lined up all these people, and I thought about this for a little while. If we went down and we took over the old Costco building down on 3rd, and we lined up stations to set up 10 stations, and each station vaccinated one person every 5 minutes, and they did that for 8 hours a day, it would still take us a year to vaccinate everybody in the Spokane area. Now, I want you to think about that. That's 365,000 people that would be vaccinated in a year. But that's only with their first shot. If they go back in line 20 days later, you're talking it's going to take twice as long. So I started thinking about this, and I thought, well, if we can't do it all at one location, what if we broke it up and we put 10 nurses in each of the Costco's, one in Coeur d'Alene, one in Post Falls, one in Spokane North, and one in Spokane Valley. So that gave us 4 locations. We put 10 in each one. How long would this take? And so by the numbers that I figured, it would still take giving a vaccination from each of these 40 stations in 4 different Costco's every 5 minutes would still take 6 months to get everybody in Spokane and Kootenai County vaccinated. So think about that. So we went from 100 million people that were supposed to. I don't think that the general public in the United States understand how long it's going to take to vaccinate 300 million people. And this is, so these numbers that I'm giving you are not factoring in anybody calling in sick, not anybody having to quarantine. This is a well-oiled machine that doesn't have anything disturbing it. And every 5 minutes they're poking people 40 at a time, every 5 minutes for 6 months in order to get that done. That's so mask up, wash your hands. This thing ain't even over. Biden got on the other day, he said this is going to take years, and we have to come to terms with this if we want to get it under control. We want to preserve our language, preserve our culture, preserve our elders for our children, for our future generations. So hunker down, man. Get ready, because we're getting ready to get hit with the backlash of all the people that traveled through Christmas, and then we're going to get hit with the backlash from all the people from New Year's too. So yeah, I know there's scary statistics, but I think they need to be heard
Yeah, he starts doing math and I get a little bit nervous. So, Jeff, I just wanted to give our viewers an update. You know, we covered the Airway Heights facility, talking about the large numbers of inmates. Well, good news that we understand that they have started vaccinations at the Airway Heights facility. You know, we reported this, and now we understand that the guards and the inmates out of Airway Heights are now getting the vaccinations. So hopefully help will be coming for our brown brothers inside. But again, as Jeff is mentioning, we still got to stay vigilant and make sure we're washing our hands and wearing our masks.
It's so important. I feel for these people, not only out at Airway Heights, not only at the correctional facility, but I also heard at Eastern Washington State Hospital, there's been an outbreak there too. And so I feel for these people because none of them went out and got it. It was all brought into the facilities to them. These are the staff or visitors that brought the virus into these facilities. And so they're very, very vulnerable. So say your prayers for the people that are incarcerated. Say your prayers for the people in these facilities that don't have a choice and are being infected by people that are bringing it to them. It's a tough place to be, man. I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be stuck in one of those facilities and have the people that are supposed to be helping me or caring for me bringing in something that could be lethal. So
and
our
so
prayers.
As the director of Nimiipuu Health, Dr. Hartwig, said, we can do this together. So it's going to take all of us working on this, but we can do this together. So yeah.
Yeah, and one other thing. So I had two comments. One, first of all, we had Irv, our buddy Irv, chimed in. So he's a Coeur d'Alene elder, and he went out to get his vaccination. And he's telling us that he says that he got a shot last Wednesday, and he still hasn't had any side effects. And he also said that Moderna. This is really interesting. So Moderna says that it's 94% effective, but they can't tell us why 6% people are not being infected or not. It's not effective for them. So that's, when I give you all these numbers, all these statistics, taking a year to get all the people in Spokane or cut it down to 6 months, there's still going to be 6% of these people that it's not going to happen to. But you did find something that was really interesting about the vitamin content.
Right. No, I read that like a large percentage, 84% of the folks that came down with COVID had vitamin D deficiencies. So that was another interesting finding. We've got to make sure we have our vitamin D, especially during the wintertime. Get some sunlight, get out, go for a walk. Make sure your immunity and you're getting the light. It fuels your body. And helps fight COVID, apparently.
Yeah, this vitamin D deficiency stuff is no joke. When I was living over on the coast, I moved back. I had a severe vitamin D deficiency. I still have problems with it now, and I have to take my supplements. And it's no joke. And to hear that it's that they're monitoring this in the COVID outbreaks is interesting. I was really surprised.
Yeah, your own body's immunity, it correlates to your susceptibility to the virus.
Yeah. So today I do want to apologize real quickly. We've been trying to shoot for 30 minutes, but this stuff is so important. I guarantee we're going to be going over. We only got about 5 or 6 minutes left, but I have a couple more stories, and they're good stories, and we're kind of going to move on beyond all things COVID. To some stuff that's a little bit different, and some of it's a little bit lighter, but not all of it necessarily, so I'm not going to guarantee that. So our next story we have here is here in Spokane. So we have the Spokane Tribe. Spokane Tribe Casino breaks ground for expansion project. The Spokane Tribe announced Monday it has broken ground on a 20,000 square foot expansion project in Airway Heights. The project is slated for completion in late 2021. The Spokane Tribe has broken ground on an expansion project that will double the size of its casino in Airway Heights. In a news release Monday, the Spokane Tribe announced construction for the expansion project began earlier this month with demolition of the casino's east parking lot. The expansion project calls for 20,000 square feet of additional gaming space, a new restaurant, and doubling the size of Waluke's, an existing bar in the casino area. The casino will also expand its non-smoking section, according to the news release. Spokane Tribe Casino Marketing Director Christopher Marzotto said the Spokane Tribe had planned to break ground on the casino expansion earlier this year, but financing was delayed amid the the coronavirus pandemic. Nearly 300 construction and casino jobs will be created as a result of the expansion project. Construction is slated for completion in late 2021, with additional amenities and expansion plans for the Spokane Tribe Casino to be announced next year, according to the news release. So this one came out of the Spokesman Review. I actually saw the article on, the story covered on KREM 2 News as well. I did want to note, though, that the story that was covered on KREM 2 News, the way they covered it really made it sound like that the expansion was something that was directly related to the increase in business from COVID and from the coronavirus, because they did an interview with the general manager out there, and he talked about how business has been up. That's directly related to the coronavirus. However, the expansion was something that was already planned before the pandemic hit, and actually ended up being delayed because of the pandemic.
Yeah, we were supposed to break ground last January and get going on an event center. So we're real excited that this is moving forward. There's been a lot of holdups and delays, but now we're getting a new sports bar, a new restaurant, more gaming floor space. So yeah, and out at the Spokane Tribe, I noticed that they had lots of cleaning. They have the glass, plexiglass dividing the machines. Everybody wears masks. You have to get your temperature taken before you even go in the facility. So they are going to all odds to make sure, taking all measures to keep gamers safe, with the plexiglass, with temperature taking, with the mask required. So shout out to the Spokane Tribe.
Yeah, so I wanted to say something that was really exciting. I thought, if you look closely in this picture here, to show some of the plexiglass that was put up out there, and this was really an exciting story for me. I was told, I went out there, and so when the tribe shut the casino down, they shut down over Mother's Day, and they had kept all of their employees on. Instead of laying everybody off for COVID, they kept them all on, and they went out and ordered all of the plexiglass dividers, and then they asked if any of the casino staff would be willing to help come and help with the installation. And they came out over Mother's Day weekend, and over 40 of the casino employees showed up when they didn't have to. They were still going to be on payroll regardless whether they showed up or not, but they had over 40 of them that came out, and they got it done over Mother's Day weekend and got the casino back up and going. So I thought that was really exciting. Way to stick together in Indian country, because not all of the staff at Spokane Tribe Casino are Spokaneans. They have some Colvilles out there, there's Coeur d'Alenes, and a variety of other tribes that are represented within the employees out there. So that was kind of exciting. So anyhow, moving right along, we have a story that this one.
Okay, so Jeff, the next story that I think that we're covering is the park ranger.
That's it.
Tases Native American man at a Petroglyph National Monument. So this Chris Ramirez shared this story out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I want to warn you that this video is a little bit graphic. It's very graphic. But this is a video that was taken Sunday at the Petroglyph National Monument in Albuquerque. It shows a park ranger tasing a Native American man for being off the trail. So Darrell House, a Marine veteran, and he was walking his dog at the National Monument in Albuquerque's west side. He was at a sacred site. House said he often prays and meditates, which sometimes means leaving a trail by a few feet. He goes to pray, he brings his sage, he does his prayers. He might have dirt that he harvests for ceremonies. But House said he was approaching a large group of walkers on the trail, so he moved off the trail for social distancing. And Jeff, I think you got that video queued up.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if you hadn't seen this already, because it's blowing up on the internet. This is just crazy, but check this out. Again,
it's a little graphic.
It is a little graphic. So see if I can get this set to camera 2. Cross dissolve. We're going to try and play this.
With Dial-Pet's Contact Center, agents are able to deliver personalized support at scale from anywhere in the world. Let's
Help! 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 What are you doing? What are you doing?
So we begin tonight with this video here that is going all over social media tonight. A local Native American man says a park ranger tased him for being off the trail at our petroglyphs yesterday. For investigator Christian Mieta spoke to that man and is getting answers from the National Park Service.
Well, that man is Daryl House. He is a Native American. He's also a Marine veteran. And on Sunday, he was walking his dog at the Petroglyph National Monument on Albuquerque's west side. He says often while he's there, he prays and he meditates, and sometimes that means he leaves the trail a little bit. But Sunday, it led to this.
Help! Help! Help!
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Show me your hands!
What are you doing? Excuse me, what are you doing? Stop! Stop it! What are you doing? Why are you doing it?
I don't have anything!
This video posted on Daryl House's Instagram goes on for 4 minutes. The park ranger repeatedly deploys his taser at House, while House appears to be confused and afraid. We spoke to House by phone.
I go there to pray. I burn my sage. I do my prayers. I harvest dirt from the area for ceremony.
House says he approached a large group of walkers on the trail, so for social distancing reasons, he moved off that trail.
This park ranger started to follow me. He came out of nowhere, and he got upset about that. And I guess he was taking note of me going off trail before, doing my prayers for the rocks.
House believes the barbs of the taser may have also hit his small dog. The park ranger attempts to handcuff House, but nowhere in the video do we hear the park ranger explain why he deployed his taser or why House must be detained.
Give me your hands. Please.
Stop!
Give me your hands,
Please.
buddy. What do you
Oh
want?
my gosh!
Give me your hands. What do you want? Give me your hands. Give me your hands. You're not
Stop!
giving me hands.
What are you doing?
I'm not
Stop
doing
it!
anything. Sir.
What are you doing?
This.
You're escalating this too high!
Right now. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. Do it now.
Eventually, House sits and agrees to be handcuffed. The park ranger discovers House has no weapons on him. A spokesperson from the National Park Service sent us a statement reading in part, "This incident is under review and has been referred to our Internal Affairs Unit for a thorough investigation. We take any allegation of wrongdoing very seriously and appreciate the public's patience as we gather the facts of this incident." As for House, he says the petroglyphs are sacred for him. The rocks there contain the writings of his ancestors, the original inhabitants of this land.
I didn't harm anyone. I didn't cause any harm to anybody. I wasn't disorderly. I wasn't on any substances. This has been going on for years.
You have no legal
I'm practicing my religious rights on my ancestral land.
That park ranger cited Daryl House for, number one, interfering with agency functions, concealing his identity, and being off the trail. I'm Chris Ramirez for Investigates.
Jeez.
All right, so there you have it. It's bad enough that we weren't able to practice our ceremonies and spiritual beliefs until 1978, and now national parks, which natives are supposed to be able to come and go without having to buy the national park passes. This is an atrocity. I can't even imagine what is going through this poor guy's head.
Yeah, a lot of these national parks are sacred sites. Indigenous people have lived here since time immemorial, and we go and we pray at these sacred sites. They're often mountaintops or places that that Euro-Americans see as national parks and beautiful places. Yes, they are, but they are also spiritual places for us. Jeff, our spirituality isn't contained in a church. The mountains and the waterways, and those are a church to us. Those are sacred sites where we go to pray. And here's, Daryl House, a Native American, a Marine veteran, going out, walking his dog, praying, taking a moment, and he's tased. Barely off the trail, and he's tased. That wouldn't be acceptable for any community, and so let's not accept it.
Yeah, and I want to say a shout out to KOB4 in Albuquerque for covering that story, a good in-depth investigation. My hands are raised to them, because so often we see things like this that don't go investigated. They don't go covered. The only thing that we could see is just, from somebody's cell phone, and it doesn't get the publicity at all. And this is just blowing up. It was all over. I couldn't help but to share it. Yeah. It was crazy. I can't. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens to this guy, because sacred lands, man, sacred lands, ceremony. And that's just well, it's hard to compare to anything.
So Jeff, we have ARFA, the American Religious Freedom Act. So Native Americans are allowed to go into national parks if it's for religious reasons, praying. Then we're not to be charged. We didn't ask for European West settlers to come in and take our land. We didn't ask for them to make national parks out of our sacred sites. Our spiritual locations of prayer to the Creator, and so we really feel for Daryl House, just taking a moment to pray, and as we go in the new year, we hope things will get better.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be a catalyst or a springboard to help with some of the other issues out there. I know there was a big movement that we talked about earlier this year at Mount Rushmore. There was a big movement, the land back movement, and everybody's been keeping their eyes on Bears Ears. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this. But our prayers go out to this gentleman and his family, and Daryl House, again, a Native American Marine veteran. Yeah, very sad. I think it even said, yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if the park rangers have to go through training and get tased. I know our law enforcement, before they can ever use a taser, they have to first get tased themselves. Spokane Tribal Law Enforcement, or some of our top tribal cops, they have to get tased at the FLETC Police Academy down in Arcadia, New Mexico. The federal law enforcement, our tribal law enforcement goes through some of the top training, and so they have to get tased first. So I wonder if the park rangers, we'll have to find out if they have to actually get tased before they can use the taser, because that was very graphic.
Yeah, that was a little too graphic.
Yeah.
So anyhow, moving right along on a lighter note, we're going to head back down Nimiipuu Way. We have this last story here for you that was pretty cool. So
our last story is Nez Perce Elder of the Year. Congratulations to the 2020 male and female Elder of the Year, Wilfred Scotty Scott and Mary Jane Tootsie Souther. Those are our Nez Perce Elders of the Year. We have a picture up. We appreciate our elders. They bring us so much in ways of our traditions, our culture, and our story. So we just wanted to give a shout out to our Nimiipuu Elders of the Year.
Elders of the Year. That'd be pretty cool if we could see every tribe doing that. I've seen it a couple times, but I think it should be mandated. We have Elders of the Year. But then again, some tribes are so small, the same elders might end up going over and over again. But that wouldn't be so bad. Be a good reason just to celebrate anyhow. So that being said, we are about out of time. Again, we apologize for going over. There was some pretty important content we felt this time, and so we just went ahead and did that. But we are going to try to stick to our 30 minutes every day. And unfortunately, this is our last show for this year. We will be back next year. Come
on, 21. As we leave, I just want to wish a happy birthday to Rayanne, cousin Rayanne. It's her birthday today. She's a beautiful mom and now is enjoying her new grandbabies. So shout out to cousin Rayanne.
Cousin Rayanne. Yeah, we'll be back on January 4th on Monday at 8 a.m. I didn't drink my coffee. We're not coming at 8 p.m. We're coming at 8 a.m. So be sure to check us out then. Until then, have a very safe and happy new year. Lemlemch, thank you again for joining us.
And Nuskokomin means to remember. So we remember all the good things and the hard times we've had this year. But as we start 2021, we look forward to blessings. We are thankful for our health and our family. So travel safe. Be smart. If you're going out for New Year's, be real safe. The roads are icy and slick, so be careful out there in Indian country.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting dumped on, so be careful.
Lemlemch she uhoy.
Lemlemch she uhoy.